But switching gears here, crude oil prices retreated from 14-year highs this afternoon, but gas prices at the pump are still hovering at record levels. Yahoo Finance's own editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, is here with more. And Andy, prices are at record levels in nominal terms, but not if you adjust for inflation. And that might be a tough argument for those actually paying these prices to refill their cars. But how bad is this situation now compared to previous gas price spikes that we've seen? Andy, I think you may be muted.
Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Emily, as you noted, price of oil dropping precipitously today after rallying to record highs from last fall. And so maybe it's kind of a funny day to talk about high gas prices, but you can see them right here on the screen, the average price of unleaded $4.25 nationally. But as you suggest, and I know, Rochelle, you talked to Rick Newman about this the other day, in terms of an inflation-adjusted number, would have to get to $5.25 a gallon to hit a record. And, I have to say, if you compare gasoline prices, you go back further than that even, if you compare gasoline prices to the price of education and the price of healthcare, for instance, in this country, and how fast those two costs have risen for the average American family, the price of gasoline is cheap, and it's cheap still, and we really take it for granted in so many ways.
It's interesting because when you compare gas prices in other parts of the world, a lot of people might be saying you actually have it pretty good here in the US. But when it comes to that pain at the pump, there's something very visceral about the costs that come at the pump when you couple that with high inflation as well. How do you see that being managed?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think Americans, Rochelle, just aren't used to it. I mean, the only Americans that can really understand this, I think, are Hawaiians. And Hawaiians have got it bad both ways. They've got the highest prices in the country. But the situation there is because obviously they're bringing all their gasoline in from out of state, obviously, and they also have very high taxes. California has high taxes, but at least they've got supply closer. But if you look at other countries in Europe, as you were suggesting, Rochelle, price of gas, $8 a gallon historically. Now I'm looking at Amsterdam, $6.48, Oslo, $6.27, Copenhagen, a bargain at $5.93. There are other places that are even wiggier on the other end, which was Venezuela, which was 25 cents a gallon at one point. But that, of course, is inflated. But there are other ways to look at the price of gas versus some things that we use every day as well, you guys.
Well, and speaking of some things that we use every day as well, one thing that prices of gas may not be expensive compared to is a cup of Starbucks. I mean, I'm pretty sure a grande frappuccino is still more expensive than a gallon of gas in most places in the country.
It's interesting you should say that because a venti frappuccino nationally is just about the same price as a gallon of premium, right around $4.95, $4.85, right? The difference, Emily, though, is that's a 20-ounce drink. And I know you don't drink gasoline, but, a gallon of gas, 128 ounces. So a gallon of frappuccinos would be $2,560. And of course, it's apples and oranges. I understand that. But now we just sort of take it for granted. And I was at a dinner last night where a Shell executive said people just don't realize it. And he made the same example of a Starbucks drink and comparing it to a gallon of gasoline and just saying we just take it for granted. It's a given. It's not expensive. The price really hasn't gone up much over the decades. And, at some point it will. Now, right now it may drop. Although just one last note here, you guys, we did see the spike with higher oil prices. And now it's going back down. If oil prices go back down, the price of gas will drop. But they raise them quick and they drop them slow because that's how these guys make money. Guys?
All right. Yahoo Finance's own editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, thank you so much.